The dark truth behind Vanya Jerbic and Božo Vrdoljak's fairy tale romance. When Vanya Jerbic joined 90 Day Fiancé, she was no stranger to the pressures of reality television. She knew every moment of her life would be under the microscope, scrutinized by millions who hung on to every word, every glance, every gesture between her and her fiancé, Božo Vrdoljak. To the world, their love story was a modern-day fairy tale of Vanya, a sharp, ambitious woman, had seemingly found her perfect match in Božo, a confident, charismatic man whose adoration for her radiated through the screen. Their chemistry was electric, playful, passionate, and bursting with the promise of a lifetime together. But behind the glittering facade of their picture-perfect romance, shadows lurked, unseen by cameras and unnoticed by fans. The subtle signs of control. From the very beginning, there had been signs, subtle, almost imperceptible, that something wasn't quite right. Božo listened intently, his concern for Vanya ever present. "I just want to make sure you're safe," he would say, his warm smile a comforting shield. At first, Vanya found his protectiveness endearing, a welcome solace in the chaotic whirlwind of reality TV fame. But over time, his attentiveness turned to something darker. His affectionate curiosity hardened into a need for control. He started questioning her choices, her outfits, her friendships, her late-night texts. "Some people don't have your best interests at heart," he would say, his tone gentle but firm. He framed his concerns as loving advice, but Vanya began to notice a pattern. Her world was shrinking, and Božo held the strings. The tightening grip. Off-camera, the cracks in their relationship widened. In private conversations, he interrupted her thoughts, dismissed her ideas, and minimized her concerns. Whenever she voiced discomfort, he would shake his head and sigh, his words dripping with quiet condemnation. "You're overreacting," he would say. At first, Vanya rationalized his behavior. Love, after all, required patience, compromise. She convinced herself that he was just looking out for her, that his possessiveness was a sign of deep affection. But deep down, a gnawing unease took root, growing with each passing day. Božo's control escalated. He monitored her social media, dissecting every like, every comment, every message. "Who is this? Why are they talking to you?" he demanded, his voice laced with suspicion. No explanation seemed to satisfy him. The more she tried to reassure him, the tighter his grip became. Soon, he was tracking her calendar, calling her incessantly when they were apart, and appearing unannounced when she failed to respond quickly enough. The once charming man she had fallen in love with was unraveling before her eyes, his insecurities manifesting in suffocating control. The breaking point. Vanya had always been strong, independent. But love had a way of clouding even the sharpest minds. It wasn't until she saw her own reflection, tired, anxious, diminished, that she truly grasped what was happening. This wasn't love. It was possession. One evening, after yet another fight, another round of justifications, accusations, and exhaustion, Vanya made a decision. She wouldn't lose herself to Božo's insecurities. She walked away. The world had seen the fairy tale. Now, it was time to reveal the truth. Vanya's marriage had become a minefield, each step requiring calculated caution to avoid setting off Božo's temper. The warmth and intimacy they once shared grew increasingly rare, replaced by a cold, suffocating tension. Fearful of triggering his anger, Vanya found herself treading on eggshells, second-guessing every word, every action. Božo had mastered the art of manipulation. He twisted every disagreement to make her feel at fault. "You're too sensitive," he would sneer. "You're imagining things. Doubt crept into Vanna's mind. Was she really overreacting? Had she become unreasonable? The self-assured, vibrant woman she once was began to wither, replaced by someone who felt small, uncertain, and afraid. Then came the night that shattered everything. The argument had started over something trivial but spiraled rapidly into deeper, more insidious territory. It was then that Bozo revealed his ultimate weapon. With a chilling smirk, he produced a video, intimate, private moments secretly recorded without her knowledge or consent. Holding it like a dagger over her, he delivered the threat with a venomous bite. "You wouldn't want anyone to see this, would you?" Vanna froze. A sickening realization washed over her. This wasn't love. This was control. This was abuse. The clarity hit her like a bolt of lightning. She had spent months rationalizing his behavior, making excuses, convincing herself that his flaws were just part of the struggle of marriage. But this was beyond forgiveness. The fear that had kept her silent was now the force that propelled her forward. She would not be his victim any longer. Summoning every ounce of courage, Vanna began to prepare. She documented everything: messages, recordings, screenshots of their conversations. She built her case meticulously, knowing the truth was her strongest weapon. And then, finally, she made her move. Walking into the police station, her heart pounded like a war drum. Anxiety clawed at her, whispering doubts, but an undeniable strength surged through her veins. She was no longer just surviving, she was fighting back. For the first time in a long time, Vanna felt something she thought she had lost forever. Freedom. Rising from the shadows, Vanya's fight for truth and justice. The truth has a way of emerging, no matter how deeply it's buried. When authorities began piecing together the evidence against Boo, the weight of Vanya's claims could no longer be ignored. The facts spoke volumes, and the law took swift action. Boo's confident facade crumbled the moment he was detained. Gone was the cocky bravado, replaced by the chilling realization that his actions had finally caught up to him. In the sterile confines of the interrogation room, he scoffed at the accusations, attempting to discredit Vanya by calling her dramatic and jealous. But data doesn't lie, and neither did the relentless trail of proof that stripped him of his defense. His arrogance melted into nervous apprehension as the cold reality of his situation settled in. News of Boo's arrest spread like wildfire across social media, igniting a firestorm within the 90-Day Fiancé fanbase. Some stood firmly in Vanya's corner, championing her bravery. "I always felt Boo was off," one supporter remarked. "You could see it in the way he talked to her on the show." Others, however, remained skeptical. "What if she's exaggerating?" a dissenting voice questioned. But as the dust settled, one truth became increasingly clear: Vanya's story resonated. It wasn't just about her, it was about every person who had ever felt trapped, silenced, or manipulated. And as she stepped into the spotlight, she carried with her a mission far greater than herself. Turning pain into power. The road to healing was anything but easy. As Boo awaited trial, Vanya began the painstaking process of reclaiming her life. But she refused to do it quietly. Instead, she became an outspoken advocate against emotional abuse and manipulation, using her platform to amplify voices that had long been drowned out. "This isn't just my story," she declared in a raw, tearful interview. "This is for everyone who has ever been made to feel small, weak, or voiceless. You are not alone." Her words struck a chord. The movement she ignited encouraged survivors to come forward, sparking conversations about the insidious nature of psychological abuse. She spoke at events, partnered with advocacy organizations, and lent her voice to those too afraid to speak. Through her resilience, she became a beacon of hope for many who had once felt powerless. Victory beyond the verdict. Though Boo's trial loomed over her like a dark cloud, Vanya had already won the battle that mattered most, the fight for her own liberation. She no longer measured her victory by a judge's ruling but by the strength she had found in herself. Her story became more than just tabloid gossip, it transformed into a powerful testament to survival and self-reclamation. She proved that one could rise from the ashes of betrayal and turn pain into purpose. And as she stepped into the future, unburdened, unafraid, she carried with her a simple yet profound message: no one gets to define you except yourself. The past no longer held her captive. And as for the gossip, it was over. If you found this story compelling, share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more powerful narratives.